Now it's time to deal with our level, our prep, and our yield content areas. So let's go back and we'll just scroll down in our code here, our CSS a little bit. So now we're going to specifically deal with these three divs here. And again, we're going to get these to lay out vertically instead of their default horizontal. So the default flow of the document top to bottom, we're going to remove these from the normal flow and get these to go from the left to the right. So we're going to first target level, prep, and yield, and we're going to do so with a list of selectors. It's just more efficient because they're going to do the same thing for the most part. Okay, so we're going to target level, comma, prep, comma, yield. The position is relative. The width, you'll notice that 33.3333 again. The height will be auto based on the content inside. The margin on the top is going to be 1 rem, 0, 0, 0. The padding will be 0. The float will be left. The clear is none. So these should go from left to the right. So we'll go ahead and save. Okay. And let's just go ahead and update our page. And you should see them now laying out. And as I mentioned before, our avocado continues to disappear. And that's happening because all of these elements are floating, okay? Except for these elements do have some height. And you'll notice all we see of the avocado is this height, okay? That's because these elements are out of the normal flow of the document. So the main element that is holding that background image, it's collapsed. And it's just what it does, okay? Because it has no idea that those other elements are inside. Now there's ways of fixing that, and we'll talk about that later. It's something called a clear fix, okay? But when we get to it, I'll show you, okay? All right, so now what we need to do is style the p tags inside, and then we need to create our borders because we want that area to look like what we have here, and we're close. All we need to do is style the p tag and then create what are these borders. Okay, so let's get that done. All right, so what we need to do is now get at the p tags for level, prep, and yield. So let's copy. Okay. So we have level P, comma, prep P, comma, yield. And let me just check something. I don't know. It's just something doesn't look. Did I spell yield correctly? Or did I inverse a couple letters? So it's I-E-L-D. All right. I just had a feeling something didn't work. Look right there. So it should be I-E-L-D. So that means I should fix it here too. I'm not sure if I did that anywhere else. Let me just, there we go. And hopefully I didn't mess it up anywhere else. Okay. I don't know, something just didn't look right. Hopefully I didn't have it right and then spell it wrong. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. And let's take a look. Good, everything's looking better. Now let's get those borders in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two more rules, and we're going to have border all, and this is going to add a border on all four sides. And then we're going to have a rule that says border top, which will which will add a border top and a border bottom. Okay, so we want level. So we have level, prep, and yield. We want level to only have border on the top and bottom. So we'll do border hyphen top bottom, okay, which is this rule right here. And then we have border all. Prep will have border all. And then yield will have border top bottom. So we'll have border top bottom. Okay, so what we're doing is we're adding a second class to the class that was already here, level. And we can add as many classes as we like. It's a modular way of building something. So you can have an element that is one thing, if you will, and then we can add a little more. We could add a little more. We could add a little more. We just keep adding classes. Okay, it's not uncommon to do something like this. It's a modular approach, and it's more efficient. So let's go ahead and save, and let's see what we have. So let's update. Okay, good. Now what we need to do is we need to get this avocado coming back here, and we're going to do that with our H2. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to take this comment, beginning of this comment, and cut this, and then let's go down to this section here, because I have the H2s by themselves, not in a section. So we'll just add our comment here and save, and that should bring our H2 back into play here. Okay, and our H2 is going to do something funky because these elements are floating. These elements are only taking up like 65%, whatever it is, of the width of main. Main goes all the way over here. Main's 70% of the total width of the browser. So because these elements are floating, this type, okay, is going up and going behind it. And again, it's kind of, it seems abstract, seems visually hard to accept, but even though this type is here, it's actually over here. Okay, I know when I say it looks like it's over here, it's well, Russ, yeah, of course it looks like it's over there, it's there, but actually it's not. It's over here, okay, as far as its actual position. Weird but true, okay? All right, so let's deal with this H2. So let's go ahead and create our H2 rule. So we'll go press return here, and then I'll get rid of this extra space. And we have main H2. We're in the main element, and we're going to target this H2. Now I don't have to do that because I'm probably not going to have an H2 anywhere else, but this just lets me know that I'm definitely dealing with an H2 inside the main area. Okay, the position will be relative, the width will be 65%. Okay, so it'll be 65%. Main is 70%, I believe. The height is auto. It's going to be based on the amount of content in each of the H2s. We're going to zero out the margin. We're going to add 1 rem of padding to the top, and 0, 0, 0. Our font size will be 0.8 rem. Our line height will be 1 rem, so we have some extra space and leading. We have our color, and then I'm going to throw in a clear both. So this is going to clear both the potential of a left and a right float, and this is going to bring the normal flow of the document back into order. It's going to force the main to behave as if those other float elements were in fact in line. Okay, so we're going to use the H2 as a means to add a clear both to get the flow of our document back. So let's save and let's see what happens. Okay, so there we go. Things are starting to work out pretty good. So now I want space right here. And you notice that I added a rem of padding on the bottom of the p tags. I believe I did that. Let's go take a look. So I added one rem padding to the top. And that's because if I added margin, just as an example, 1000 px. So this should take, and now what this is going to do probably is really kill two of the p tags, but it's not going to make the other one behave the way we think. At least I don't believe so. So let's go ahead and update our page. Okay, and actually I'm surprised it did. It usually does not. When we have a float element, having the margin on the top doesn't usually result in what we're looking for. So I think I proved myself wrong on this one. All right, so I'm going to set this back to 0. And technically what we should be able to do then is let's cut, and then let's make our padding 0, and we'll use one rem of margin instead, and then we'll save. Okay, now let's see if this comes back correctly. Okay, so I used margin on the top, and maybe it's because of the rem. I don't know, but you can see there's no space here. It's not working correctly. Okay, so I'm going to go back with padding. It's odd that 1000 pixels pushed it down, but if I use rem, it doesn't. So let's just do a little experiment, and instead of one rem here, let's do 16 px, and then we'll save. And then let's update. And it doesn't. Okay, so that just like boggles my mind. When I used 1000 pixels, it pushed it way down, but when I use 16 pixels, it doesn't. And I'm thinking it has something to do with the fact that these are floating, and it has something to do with the fact that we probably use negative margin. Remember when we use negative margin to move this up? That's probably what's creating some grief for us right now. So I'm going to go back to the way I was doing it. Okay, and that is where we're going to use 0 margin here. We'll do our one rem padding. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a little hack. And that hack is this. Okay, so I'm just going to create a class called add space hack. So basically when you're trying to be forceful with something and you're not figuring out or something has kind of piled up and you're not exactly sure what's going on, then sometimes you might, till you get it figured out, you might have to throw in a hack. That's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to use this class to add some padding, top padding, to, which one are we going to add it to? I think we're going to add that to our section, our H2, our first H2, okay? So we have this padding here, all right, which is padding on the one rem on the top. So let's go ahead and now find, where is it here? This H2. So we're going to add our class equals, and then add space hack. So add space hack. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm adding extra space at the top, and that space is going to be 32 pixels to create some more space. But I don't want the other H2s to have that extra space, so we're just adding it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. And hopefully we're going to get this space to increase, and then these spaces will remain the same. So let's see here. And there we go. Okay, so now we're getting our 32 pixels, or 2 rem. We're getting our 16 pixels, or 1 rem here. All right, done with this step.